Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be focusing on creating motion using the Photoshop filter features in it. So, of course, if you have already gotten your images, great. So what we're going to be doing is using the primary image as our catalyst. And, of course, if you already gotten your background image for this, great. So the next thing, what you're going to do is go to Open. Make sure that you have the images already into your directory at this time. So let's see. I got a real good image of course, this. And what I'm going to do is press Open for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over right here if possible. So let's see. I'm going to flip horizontal so I can flip the whole thing. All you have to do is select all, but that's just in case you want to make sure that there is sort of continuity within your image. So if you already have that, great. So what I'm going to do is going to go to File and Open. I am going to select one of the following images to go with this. Let's see. So just for fun, I am going to select, of course, this Ferrari. So, of course, when you have an image with level detail, the best option, which you have to use, is definitely your quick selection tool. It's a good way to get started. Now, if you want to adjust the brush size, always use the bracket keys on your keyboard to select, to minimize or maximize. So, I'm going to make my selection. Now, if you notice, there's a bit of a drop shadow onto it. That's okay. This is a real good start to sort of establish a few things. It also would be good, especially if you want to have at least some continuity within said image. So once you have your selection, make sure you trim out any excess stuff that isn't supposed to be there. So, of course, the tires right here. Of course, this. There. So always double check to see if everything is consistent. Again, if you make a mistake, all you have to do is hold the Alt key and click to deselect, and release the Alt key and click again to select. So I'm going to make sure everything's clean. From there, you could also zoom in by holding the Alt key and scroll button, just to make sure you got all the level of detail within it. So here we go, fixed. I'm going to press Select and Mask to sort of see where I'm at, pretty much selection-wise right here. Of course, this is going to have a little bit of a drop shadow right here. So it's not going to be easy. So you're going to try the best guesstimation on this. So of course, it's going to be a harsh cut. I'm going to work on the radius here. I'm going to shift the edge right here. Work on smoothing some areas that may a little be inconsistent. It's okay. We could easily fix this by using some of the features that we have. All you have to do is press OK, press Control C, Control V as in victorious to paste. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal my history here just to make sure everything is on place. Now, of course, like I said, sometimes if your image is not consistent with the overall design because of drop shadow, like I said, this could be easily remedied with at least the healing brush tool right here. And just try to use a soft brush on it, so at least you have a little bit of consistency within said image. There we go. I'm going to soften this brush a little bit more. There we go. So I got that cleared out. So again, it's just a matter of guesswork on how much you can and can't do. So I'll just leave it as that for now. So here's my vehicle. Now I'm going to align it as much as I can. In order to create a sort of a three-dimensional depth within said image, be sure to at least press Control T to free transform. So here we go. I have my free transform tool right here. And of course, what I'm going to do is hold the control key. And what it does, it creates like a separate white arrow. And what I could do is create a sort of sense of depth, like a pseudo depth right here. Just adjust, just like that. Press enter, just like that. So once you already have it, what you're going to do next is, once you have everything, you're going to look into your layers. You're going to double click into it. I'm going to, please name your layers, and I'm going to call this car. I know each and every one of you have a different image. So once I have that, I'm going to duplicate the layer. So right click, duplicate layer. Then I'm going to call this zoom. We're going to create an illusion within this. I'm going to drag down the zoom layer right here. I'm going to hide this a little bit and just make a little bit of a movement right here to set this up. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the Liquify tool. So in your filter menu, go to Liquify. This will have a little pop-up right here. Bless you. And I'm going to increase the brush size right here to sort of stretch it out as such right here. I just want to sort of inflate this. Some of these tools will give you the ability to sort of bloat it up just a little. And once I'm pretty much satisfied, I'll press OK. Now, right now it doesn't look much. I'm going to go back to my filter again. And this time I'm going to go to my blur submenu. And I'm going to select motion blur. Right here, you should get this little setting right here. And what you could do is actually zoom out to see where you're at. You could adjust the angle as such into the direction that you're facing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ramp up this right here to create zoom lines, just like that. Then I'm going to press OK. So that's one step. You could lower the opacity just a little bit because you want to create that illusion that movement is occurring within that said vehicle or subject. I'm going to go the next step and create a drop shadow onto this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my zoom layer, right click, duplicate layer, and I'm going to rename this drop shadow. Along with that, I'm going to move this down right here. Then what I'm going to do is press Control T to free transform, resize it, adjust as such. I'm going to use the Control key to sort of make that adjustment here and here to make my drop shadow. So once I have that, on the bottom of the layer FX layer right here, or layer style, what you're going to do is click on this and select color overlay. This menu will pop up right over here, and what you're going to do is it's going to show you the menu. You could change the blend modes right here as much as you can. I'm going to select, let's see, I could select normal. Now, I could work with the opacity. I'm going to leave it as is to 100, and that's fine. The next step right here on my drop shadow, I'm gonna lower the opacity onto the layer. I'll make some few adjustments here, of course, to make this said drop shadow, just like that. And there you pretty much have it. This concludes pretty much of this tutorial. If you have any questions, concerns, feel free to raise your hand.